Marquez.
Yo, it's your boy Marquez Smith, also known as A. He's also known as the coolest guy in sports. Back with another Who's Better. This time I have James Harden versus Stephen Curry. Who's better in 2018-2019 NBA season? Before we get started, guys, please go out and follow my Twitter on Marquez Smith. But let's get to the video. In 78 games played this season, James Harden averaged 36.8 minutes per game, 36.1 points per game, shot 44.2 from the field, 36.8 for the three-point line, 6.6 rebounds, 7.5 assists per game, 0.7 blocks per game, 2 steals per game, and shot 87.9% from the free throw line. Stephen Curry in 69 games played averaged 33.8 minutes per game, 27.3 points per game, 47.2 from the field, 43.7% for the three-point line, 5.3 rebounds, 5.2 assists, 0.4 blocks, 1.3 steals, 91.6% from the free throw line. Here I have two studs. I have James Harden, I have Stephen Curry. James Harden, who finished top 2 in the MVP voting this past season. He lost to Giannis Antetokounmpo. We know that I feel like he was robbed. If you do the eye test, James Harden is a better basketball player than Giannis Antetokounmpo, especially if we're just talking about skill. Now, Stephen Curry. Stephen Curry is a top 5 player in the NBA. Stephen Curry is special. He's phenomenal. His buckets, his three-pointers hit different. And when I say they hit different, I mean with one shot, with one three-point made basket, with one three-point shot, he can literally change the entire outcome of a basketball game. And his gravity on the basketball floor is completely insane. Like, he can, as soon as he crosses the half court, all eyes are on him. And when all eyes are on him, everybody's focused on him and the attention that he brings on the basketball floor, you have so many. So this brother's really transcended the game and taken the game to another level just with his impact on the basketball floor. That's why when everybody was talking about when Kevin Durant decided to sign with the Golden State Warriors, everybody was complaining and upset, and it was so unfair because they knew the type of player that Stephen Curry was and how much value he brings on the court with he doesn't even have to have the ball, and people are going to have their eyes focused on him. And when he does have the ball, people are going to have their eyes focused on him and glued to him to see if he's going to pull it for 40. And James Harden has transcended the game with his unstoppable step-back jumper. This brother put in a move this past season, had all the highlights, everybody talking about it. This brother is a walking bucket, one of the greatest basketball scorers in the history of the NBA. One can make an argument right now that James Harden possibly is a top 3 to top 4 scorer already. His career is not over with. He has a move that is going to probably be talked about like the Kobe Bryant fadeaway, the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar sky hook. Now, when we're talking about the 2018-2019 NBA regular season, I have to roll with James Harden of having the better season because I feel like James Harden should have won the MVP. James Harden had some spectacular moments in games, like the 60 in Madison Square Garden, the back-to-back 50 points, 50-point triple-doubles. He was doing things that hasn't been done in the last 30 years. He was doing things that Michael Jordan was doing this past season. He was robbed because of the media and the narrative that they create about James Harden. They don't necessarily like James Harden, but everybody knows if you watch the game of basketball, this brother deserved the MVP award over Giannis Antetokounmpo last season. So I got to roll with him having a better season over Stephen Curry in the 2018-2019 NBA regular season. But now here's the good stuff. Here's where things get tricky. Who is the better player between the two when we're looking at Stephen Curry and we're looking at James Harden? James Harden is lethal. Stephen Curry is lethal. Stephen Curry almost each and every year is a member of the 50-40-90 club. That's how lethal of a player and dynamic of a player Stephen Curry is. And Stephen Curry is also, he's going to get you rebounds. He's also going to get you assists. So he took a step back the past few years playing with Kevin Durant, but he was still the most valuable player on the Golden State Warriors. And if you take Stephen Curry off the Golden State Warriors, that whole offense runs entirely different. So that's what I mean by most valuable. The best player was definitely Kevin Durant on those teams where they were together, but the most valuable player was Stephen Curry. Now, Stephen Curry had a chance this season, and James Harden had a chance this season. KD went out. It was James Harden and Chris Paul's opportunity to kind of like try to steal and win and go to the championship and go win a ring. This was last year was another opportunity for them to go and try to win a championship. And they had the odds in their favor with Kevin Durant getting hurt. But what we saw was that Stephen Curry and James Harden, it's levels to it when it comes to the playoff time. And I got to roll with Stephen Curry being a better player overall than James Harden, just for the fact of the matter in the playoffs, Stephen Curry showed up and James Harden didn't show up. And if you look at the advanced stats, you're going to see that the advanced stats would show that James Harden had a better playoff series against the Golden State Warriors and had better numbers than Kevin Durant and Stephen Curry. But I'm talking about key moments. I'm talking about when it was time for James Harden to go out and get a bucket. He was passing to Chris Paul, and then Chris Paul go to work. That's not what we want. That's not what we want to see. Chris Paul is an excellent player. Chris Paul is a superstar. But James Harden, it was your time to shine. It was supposed to be James Harden. It was supposed to be James Harden's game to win or lose, and James Harden kind of deferred and gave the ball to Chris Paul, and that's been a knock against James Harden. We do not want to see that going forward. We did not need to see that when Kevin Durant was missing the rest of the series, and you had the opportunity to do something spectacular, do something special, and to help your team succeed and win. So, that being said, just off of that alone, I got to give the edge to Stephen Curry. And people are going to point to Stephen Curry and talking about, well, Stephen Curry has similar opportunities in the finals with Kawhi Leonard and the Toronto Raptors, and he fell short. Yes, that is true. Stephen Curry is 0 for 8 in the last 2 minutes, or last minute when it comes to go ahead or game winning shots. That is true. That is true with Stephen Curry. But I've seen Stephen Curry perform in the finals. I've seen Stephen Curry do it at the highest level and come up at bigger more times than I've seen James Harden have done it in the past. So I got to roll with Stephen Curry being the best player, not the best player. I got to roll with Stephen Curry being the better player overall if we're talking about James Harden versus Stephen Curry. But I will say that it's close. It's very close. It's hit or miss. Like my eyes, I thought James Harden was the best player in basketball this past season based on the regular season, but in the playoffs, it's a total different. It's a total different story. It's a total different situation. It's about guys who wants it more. And when it came down to James Harden versus Stephen Curry, in those moments, Stephen Curry showed you that he can have a terrible first half and then came back a monster and killer in the second half and showed you that who he really is and his levels when it comes to the playoffs. So just off of that alone, I got to roll with Stephen Curry being a better player than James Harden. But James Harden did have a historic 2018-2019 NBA regular season. He had a better season overall than Stephen Curry. But as of right now, if I got to pick my top 5 players in the NBA, I got to have Stephen Curry over James Harden as of right now. And things may change because I love James Harden. I love James Harden's game. I love everything that he brings. I love his tenacity. I love his ability to score buckets. And I'm eager to see this upcoming season, the 2019-2020 season, with the Houston Rockets and what they're going to do with the addition of Russell Westbrook. And I'm also eager to see, can Steph Curry be the Stephen Curry he was before Kevin Durant came along. So 2018-2019 NBA regular season, of course, James Harden had the better season than Stephen Curry, but the better player overall, if I had to pick right now, this second, based on last year's playoffs and based on that series with the Golden State Warriors and the Houston Rockets when it came down to tight and key situations, looking for a player to take over, who took over the game more and who wasn't afraid of the moment. And not saying that James Harden was afraid of the moment, but he kind of just deferred a little bit. I got to roll with Stephen Curry being a better player than James Harden. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Are you rolling with James Harden? Are you rolling with Stephen Curry? It's your boy, Mike K. Smith, also known as AK. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to stay updated on these videos. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs. Guys, support the movement. AK's Nation. I'm gone, man. Peace.